1, 2.
All right, folks, y'all see the man behind me back there, Andy Griffith. We're in his hometown today of Mount Airy, North Carolina. Very small town, old town, historic, lots of scenery here. This is one of those towns that you don't even have to come here for Andy Griffith. You could just come here to check it out, and I think you'd be very surprised in the amount of stuff you would find. There's a lot of traffic here. This is actually quite the tourist attraction. I'd never expected it. After all these years, Andy passed away back in 2012. And man, this place is still. I went over to the museum. I've driven by some of the locations to see how I want to do the video today. And there's not really going to be any spots that are slow so that I can kind of squeeze in there and get my video. So we're going to do the best we can. This video is a little bit different than my normal stuff. I'm a true crime guy. I've kind of been labeled that recently. I've done a lot of that, kind of fell into that niche, whatever it is. And we're going to change things up a little bit, kind of do things the way I originally intended. Anyways, enough about that. I'm going to take y'all to the original home place of Andy Griffith today. I'm going to take y'all to Wally's service station. I'm going to try to get a tour in one of the patrol cars. There's actually, I believe, 3 cars here in Mount Airy that are decked out just like Barney's patrol car from Mayberry there. And I'm going to show y'all some of the attractions here. It's raining. I'm standing under a tree right now getting dripped on. So y'all bear with me. I'm going to give y'all the best I can. This is actually the first time I've done a video like this. So I'm really excited about it. I'm happy to make this video. And I hope it comes through with the content. Y'all stick around. Check this mural out. I couldn't leave here and not show this to y'all. So this whole mural was painted and created by the artist Jex. I'll zoom in there and show you his information. This was completed in 2022. And of course it has all of the different years of Andy through his fame. Of course, front and center there is, I would probably feel safe saying the prime of his career. Young Andy on the left. All the way over to the Matlock years. It's pretty cool. Let's go to the next stop. Alright folks, so we're here at the Playhouse Museum in Mount Airy. I'm going to take y'all through, just going to walk y'all through it, show you what it is. I'm going to walk up right now on this statue. It's kind of famous. There's actually a picture of Andy Griffith commemorating the statue. I'm going to show that to you. And I'm going to spin the camera around and show y'all that real fast. We're going to go ahead and go inside, try to get out of this rain. Alright folks, here it is. This is the statue at TV Land, dedicated to Andy. I'm going to put a picture in here in just a second. And this picture with Andy. He's got his hand on Opie's head, standing between his own statue there and Opie. Yes, we're walking up on the museum now. Here to the left, when you walk up, they actually have a model of the sidecar that Barney purchased for the road patrol, I believe they called it. But if you're a fan of the show, you definitely know what that's about.
You ready? Let her rip.
But yeah, we're here at the museum now. Here on the ground, they have these dedicated markers. There's Don Knotts there, George Lindsay, James Best. Some of them are more worn than others. There's Andy right there. So my shoes are very squeaky right now. Y'all have to bear with me. Upon entering the museum here, the fee is $8.56, and they will give you this silver sheriff's badge that you have to put on your chest or wherever you want to put it. But there's tons of photos here. I'm just going to skim through some of them with y'all. I'm going to sit here and read every one of them. There's Andy when he visited his home place. We're going to take y'all there in a little bit and show y'all this. So some of this stuff like this, y'all just pause the screen and read it. I can't stand here for 30 seconds and show that one thing. It's going to not do too good for me. So this wall is full of actual photos from the town here. And if y'all didn't know, Andy inserted several names of cities that were local to Mount Airy and names of businesses. And one of them I'm going to visit today. I'm going to try to. Snappy Lunch. I'll show y'all this card here. And y'all can pause it once again. They're making their world famous pork chop sandwich. A lot of my friends that have been here have tried this and they say it's pretty good, so we'll see. So this is actually Andy's slingshot. I'll let y'all read the card there, but his father made this for him. This museum is full of his actual real-life artifacts. So this is actually one of the screen use shirts here from Mayberry. Completion of this shirt was dated in 1966, so it would have been in the last couple seasons of the show. This is one of the main pieces I came for. I love screen use stuff. And these are the actual door signs that were on the buildings in Culver City on filming. Stuff like this is why I come to places like this. I really, really enjoy the screen use stuff.
You the one on the train duty today, brother? Yes, sir. All week, sir.
So they have a recreation here of the actual desk. This is the kind of stuff I come here for. So a lot of the items here on the desk are actually used in the film. The eagle here on the desk was used. So was the block and gavel. And it's reported that the phone was the original phone used from 1960 to 1966. So that would have been the phone that Barney called Juanita. made my way over to Wally service station. As you can see, a couple of the cars parked out front. I'm going to try to get a tour here in a minute. And right to the left of that is the Mayberry courthouse. You know, once again, none of the filming was done here. They actually have a recreation of the jail inside. I'm going to go ahead and take y'all inside and show y'all that now. And then we're going to go over and try to get a ride on the tour. I think y'all will enjoy this. Of course, they have the placards here on the front door, just like the ones I just showed you at the museum. Of course, the ones at the museum are the real deal from Culver City. These are not. Holy moly. So sometimes you have to just kind of step back and soak it in. This is one of those moments. Wow. Now, how cool is that? There's a huge echo in here. We're going to deal with it. This is on cool level number 10 right now. So has anybody on earth never seen an episode of Andy Griffith Show? I was raised, this show was in black and white when I was a little kid in the 80s. And it was all reruns. The show stopped airing in 1968. As far as the new episodes, it's never stopped airing. It's on every day. It runs all day, every day. And it's kind of weird filming without my glasses on. I'm so used to doing that. I can look around and see things while I'm talking to y'all, kind of get ahead of what I'm saying. And like this, it's kind of like a little bit revealing. Anyways, that's the desk. There's Barney's seat right there. I see something looming over in the corner. I'm going to go check out. Aunt Bee's kerosene cucumbers. I know y'all remember that episode. It's one of my more favorite episodes. And here's the phone. You know, when in Rome, you know. Sarah, give me the Bluebird Diner. Yeah, I know it's early, but somebody will be there. Cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo. Juanita, hey. Barn. You want me to say it to you again on the phone like this? Cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo. Barney's chair, the radio, dispatch, kerosene cucumbers, the fan. There's always a fan in that corner. This is the little armory here. Of course, it's just a bunch of wooden guns, but this place is an exact replica, man. It looks just like it. I can't wait to go around that corner over there and see where Barney's bed is, if it's there. The cells are just set up just right. Of course, they have a brick here in memory of Ernest T. Bass. Fun fact about Ernest T. Bass, Jim Varney used that character to inspire his character, Ernest P. Worrell. And Hayvern, another fun fact, where Hayvern came from, Jim Varney and Vern Gosden were like super tight friends. And that's where it came from, Hayvern. So yeah, moving on over here to the cells. This is Otis's cell, of course. Let me go in here and check it out. Of course, we have the key here. If I had somebody here with me, I would lock myself in a cell and get out. Of course, this is the extra cell. Of course, they have the addition of the windows, which is screen accurate. I love it. God, these doors are heavy. Little TV in the corner. Otis's bed. Dated furnishings, but they'll do. Of course, a picture of the man, the legend himself. Otis. This is cool. I gotta say, I love seeing screen use stuff, but seeing this is almost as good as seeing the actual real life stuff. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just excited right now. Yep, so there is no office back over here. It's actually a bathroom, and it's out of order. Sorry, folks. Gomer. That's pretty cool. Andy. Gonna reach it. There it is. Got it. All right. I would not make a good crook. Anyway, enough of the antics. I mean, would it be a trip if I didn't lock myself in here? It would really suck if it really did lock though. I was going to lay down in the bed, and I'm afraid I will fall right through it, so we're not going to do that. This could be a thumbnail right here. Let's see. Maybe not. We're going to see if we can't go outside and get us a ride in one of the cars and get a tour around town. Maybe go somewhere and have a little lunch and wrap this video up. All right, y'all stay tuned. I'm going to show y'all one more time, man. Just, you got to see it. I mean, would you look at that?
Things are not packed real
Right.
There's still a lot of room to work.
And would you look at that?
Just look at it. Just look at it.
Yeah, well.
What the heck is that?
I mean, just look at it.
I mean, just get a look at that.
A cop did that.
A cop. Oh, where is he? I'd like to look at him.
Went over and
So I've actually read reviews on this guy who's giving me a tour today, and he's the man, from what I understand. So I'm going to get his name and stuff when we get in the car. And I'm going to recommend if y'all come, y'all ask for him because he's a wealth of information. Hopefully when we get in the car, I can get him to maybe strap on my microphone and record a bunch of what he's saying and be able to put that on here for y'all. So I'm going to give y'all a little tour of the store while we wait. And the next thing y'all will see after that will be us loading up in the Galaxy. So they've got all kinds of food in here, grape jelly, whole assortment of pickles, roasted garlic, pretty much anything you'd need, I guess. Salad dressing.
So this is the real Wally's gas station, folks. This gas station opened in February in 1937, and the first gentleman that ran it was Wallace Smith. Everybody in Mount Airy called him Wally, but Wally and Andy's dad, Carl, were cousins. And Andy had fond memories of hanging out down here, and that's why Wally's is portrayed on the show. Goober and Gomer never worked here. That was Hollywood, but it is the real Wally's.
But up the street, I'll point some of those homes out to you that's got some of the stone, or maybe a little bit, a whole lot of stone in it. So you ready to go?
Let's do it.
Oh, let's go do. All right now, Citizens Arias. Citizens Arias, where'd you go, Barney? That's illegal U-turn, Citizens Arias. Now look over here to the left, how much stone's in this house. That one and that Novaris built somewhere around 1910. Some people think they're older homes. They are old. But the yellow one over here is older than those. That one was built in the late 1800s. But what gives it away how old it could be, at least, is them steps and them pillars. Nowadays, most of that stone is used in the commercial sense. In big government, big business, the average guy cannot afford to build a house out of it in the private sector. Now you can find the stone across the nation by name, and a few years ago, my wife and I was up in Pennsylvania, and we stopped at the Hershey Corporation where they make the chocolate. While we were there, we realized that they had built a brand new corporate headquarters building out of stone. Was we impressed? Well, not really. And when you live in the Granite City, and every corner you turn up here at the lights, you're going to see to your left, you're going to see a partially old granite wall where homes used to be on that bank. And they tore the homes down but left the wall because people sometimes ask where them steps are going. In 1960, when the Andy Griffith Show come on TV, the Ford Motor Company became their corporate sponsor. And their agreement with the show was that each season that show came back on TV, they would give them brand new patrol cars. So each season the show went off TV, they took the old cars back, turned them into used cars and sold them. And before Andy died, he would have told you, as far as he knows, there are no original cars left on the face of the earth for two reasons. Back then, nobody thought about hanging on to them. But your biggest reason, they were never titled to the show. And the reason it was not titled to the show is because it didn't make sense. If you're just going to title a vehicle to somebody knowing in the back of your mind in a few months you're going to get it right back, then that's a whole lot of title work and headache that you don't need. And knowing that the Ford Motor Company loaned them more than 2 or 3 cars every year, that would have been a hassle for them. So what Ford done is they let them have their vehicles with an open title as loaners and demonstrators. So once they got it back at the end of the season, all they had to do was strip them down and repaint them, sold them to the public, and when they got out of sight, boom. That's when you lost your ability to trace them back to the set. And every now and then we'll have somebody come in and say, well, we got somebody that's got one document. And I said, well, they got ripped. I said, there are no original cars left. Andy says they're not, there's no original cars left. Some people know this, some people don't. If you know the different body style changes of the 60 Ford series, you can tell what season you're watching. Now this is a 62 Ford Galaxy. If you know that and you see it on an episode, that's telling you that you're most likely watching the second season. So you can always tell that. Cannot grow corn on rock. But there was several of us in that house when I was growing up.
So you actually grew up in that house?
Yeah.
Actually, oh, wow.
Yeah, Mom and Dad lived there for right at 40 years. And
There's not a crack in it, is there?
no, it's just as solid, the stone's solid as it is. It's
Wow.
built. And really, in my 71 years of living, it may have went down in some places 10 to 15 feet, but not very much. It looks about the same as it was when I grew up here as a kid. But they started mine up at that tree line, and it's always come downhill exactly the way you see it laying now and stop at the bottom of it from the first of the day.
So you're saying pretty much all of your life it's pretty much looked just like this? It just went down about 15 feet, you say?
Maybe 10 or 15 feet in some places. It really hadn't changed that
It
much
kind of
in
looks
my
about the
lifetime.
same?
Yeah, because I used to play on it when I was a kid during the day. Then at nighttime I was in the woodshed. My last comment, this is where Ernest T. Bass kept his rock collection. The show lasted from October the 3rd, 1960 till April 68, 8 years. And the first #1 character to pass away was Floyd the Barber, Howard McNear, and he died early in January of 1969 from complications of strokes. But now if you kept up with the series, you can actually catch on to that. The first 3 seasons of the show, he was real active on the set. Then at some point in 63, I don't know the day from what I've read, the day he had a stroke, but the stroke left his left side to the point that he couldn't never walk again like he did beforehand. Plus, at first it left him in a coma. Well, they took him off the show, but Andy still was not pleased with them making that decision, so he went to Howard's wife. He said, Ruth, said if he recovers from a coma and recovers enough to where I can reuse him on the show, will that be okay? And she said, Andy, that'd be an answer to prayer. Because they didn't make a ton of money back in those days, so he recovered from his coma. He was alert again. He could speak again, but that was it. He never was ever able to walk again like he did beforehand. So when he first come back on the show, what you're going to see is basically sitting in his chair out front of the bench, in the courthouse, in cars, and occasionally after 63 you might see him standing, but he's always close to somebody or something that he can hold on to. In one episode where Barney thought he was going to lose his job because regulations, you could see him in that episode at first walking around the edge, door facing his left shoulder and up against the wall. He had to have something to act as a crutch. But that sort of went downhill because by the 7th season at some point, he got a lot weaker. He began to slur a lot more. He started having a whole lot of trouble remembering his lines, so they finally had to take him off the show. Now, the next character actress, in this case, that passed away was Frances Bouvier, or Aunt B. And she was born and raised in New York in 1902, but she retired and settled in Siler City, North Carolina in 1974. She bought a 17-room, 5-bath mansion, sight unseen, lived there for 15 years till she died in 1989. And when she died, she left a house full of cats and a 66 Studebaker with 4 flat tires.
Wow.
Now, Frances never married. She had no family. Her cats was her family. And they said that she had a slew of cats and that she actually lived in one room of the house and the cats had the rest. And probably one of the most highly trained on the show because she had 25 years of Broadway under her belt. But that turned out to be what her trouble was, because she tried to, through the series at times, to marry Broadway acting with television, and that's 2 totally different ways of acting that don't mix. Now, something she did very commendable before she died, and a lot of people know this, is 4 months before she died, from what I understand, she got a hold of Andy and said, Andy, I want to apologize to you, tell him sorry. He said, for what? She said, well, I felt like I was hard to work with on the show, and I was very unkind to you. very uncooperative. I'd like to apologize to. He said, you don't owe me no apology. Oh, that's part of the showbiz. You'll see Barney's down here, a very familiar name from the show. And it's right next to that clock over there. And I think, overall, that's probably the most popular place that people love to eat.
Barney's Cafe?
Yeah, it's really, really good. But they got the snappy lunch down there, and that's the original snappy lunch Andy went to as a young boy to get a bite to eat, because this year it celebrates a 100-year anniversary, but in that same spot. In 1923 is when it started. I used to go there as a kid myself, and he used to get them a nickel bologna sandwich or a hot dog.
Wow.
And again, you can have other names that's been added, but Walker Soda Fountain actually was Lamb Drug before they ever started that. All right, now let's move it. Move it, move it, move it. But anyway, like I say, the way they filmed the show was simple. They brought some of the writers and directors out here before they filmed in California. Andy came with them. And they did a 2-week tour, and during that 2-week tour is when they wrote the script of the show based on Andy's hometown. And people say, why didn't they film it here? Well, there's nothing written or said about it, but I think it had to do with finances. Because when I grew up in the 50s, I had to watch the radio. We didn't have TV. And the commercial back in was one of the hardest things to receive back in, plus the equipment they used back in. There's the barbershop. And then again, right next door is the Snappy Lunch where Andy used to go in.
Yeah, I heard he actually, there's a lot of rumors that he ate a lot of different things there, but I saw an interview he gave, and then I've read the only thing he ever admits to eating there where he's on interview is a hot dog.
Yeah. Now, Charles Dow, that run that thing for many, many years, and he said this many times. I mean, he was running when Andy was, he's been dead so years. But he used to tell everybody, come in, he said, Andy used to come and get him a nickel bologna sandwich.
Yeah.
And he might have forgot it. Yeah. But yeah, now, over when he was doing the statue over there, see, some people were picked on him talking about, when they got that pork chop sandwich started, talking about that was Andy's favorite sandwich. Well, when he done his interview over there at the statue, he said, I ain't never eat a pork chop sandwich in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
So he said, I eat a hot dog once in a while, but according to Charles, now he did eat him a bologna sandwich. I tell everybody, I said, they still got that bologna sandwich, but it's more than nickel. But the story behind it, you see the first year on the sign, which is 35, because Andy was born June 1st, 1926. Okay. The first 9 years, him and his mom and dad actually didn't have nowhere to point at, so that's where we live. But they were able to bounce around out there between relatives till finally his dad was able to buy the house in 35. So they lived here. Andy goes off to college in the mid-40s, and he went to the University of North Carolina, received a degree in music, and while in college, he met his first wife, Barbara. Well, after college, him and Barbara spent the next 3 years in Goldsboro, North Carolina, where Andy taught school. And at that 3-year stretch, sometime back, I was messing around on the internet, and I found an interview that Andy had done years ago, and he was telling a story about leaving school. He said the last year he taught school, he went up to the principal and turned his notice in. So he told the principal, says, I'm gonna take my little comedy act and go across the nation and make a living. He said, that did not go over well. He said the principal stood down and chewed him out for about 5 minutes. He says, now Andy, now you know good and well that is not a proper way to make a living. But as you and I know, Andy made the guy eat them words for years. The 66th year is the year that he flew his mom and dad, Carl and Geneva Griffith, out to Hollywood, and that's where they eventually passed away and buried. Well, that same year that he flew them out there, Andy calls back to sell the house, which he sold, and it stayed in the private sector. And in around 2000, Zach Blackman, who owned the franchise to the local Hampton Inn, he bought it, and ever since then, it's been, a bed and breakfast.
All right, so when is Mayberry Days? We talked about it quite a bit on this tour. I'm going to come back, actually. So when are those dates?
It's the last full week in September.
Okay.
It's a way to remember it. If I tell you certain dates, you won't know, but it's the last full week. Okay. In other words, if the week stops in the middle of the week, the last day is like on Wednesday, you got to go back a week.
Gotcha.
So it's always the last full week in September.
Okay. And what was your name again?
Don Nuts, they call me.
Don Nuts. I knew it was something like that. All right. So y'all get down here, man. Y'all ask for Don Nuts, and he does a heck of a tour. How can they get a hold to you, Don?
Just call Wally's.
It's called Wally's and ask for Don.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
All right, we're here on North Main Street
I was going to go to the Snappy Lunch, and it closed down at about 1:45 today. So, on the recommendation of locals, we're going to go to Barney's Cafe. Try some lunch. See. It's a frozen patty. It's good. Yep. Yeah, it's a good quality hamburger. It's frozen patty, but I didn't really expect anything different though. You know, stuff like this is so interesting. Look how old this is. I don't know, I find this stuff so interesting. In a lot of cities, this is the kind of place you don't want to be. Look at that old stuff. Look at that. All right, folks, here we are, right where we started at. About 4 hours later, rain's let up. We still overcasted quite a bit, but overcast helps me. I like filming in a little bit of overcast like this. Anyways, if y'all are still here watching this video, y'all probably like what I'm doing. Probably like this style of videos. While you're here, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and like the video. It helps me out so much, and it helps me to further be able to do more of these videos. And that's my intention now. I'm going to try to get at least 2 videos out a week if I can. Different style of content, celebrity graves, true crime, stuff like this. It's not going to just be the same true crime every single week. I'm going to try to mix it up a little bit more. And thank y'all for coming to watch the video today. I hope y'all really enjoyed it, because I definitely enjoyed making it. It was a bit of a change for me, and I needed it. The true crime stuff can grind you. Obviously, it's pretty dark, and this trip was very well needed. I'm not doing any true crime on this trip, all just fun stuff. So anyways, we'll catch y'all on the next one. Thanks, like, share, and subscribe. We'll see ya. Bye.